It's been about 2 years since I got the Apple Studio Display, and I've used it every single day since I've had it. And I'm gonna tell you if it's still worth it now in 2024. So this has been the only monitor that I've used in the past 2 years, so I can confidently say that I'm very familiar with it. So in today's video, we're gonna be going over what I don't like about it and what I do like about it during the time that I've spent with it. And like I said, I'll ultimately be giving you the verdict on whether or not I think it's still worth it in 2024, as well as who it's for. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as it does help me out a ton. And let's jump right into what I don't like about the Studio Display after 2 years with it. So I'm going to be fully transparent. This is not me having Apple bias or anything, but I've genuinely enjoyed my time with it a lot. So there's not a lot of things that I don't like, but there are a few things that you should know that I've noticed during my 2 years. So the first one being is that the stuff on the Studio Display, especially if you're into content creating, looks better or different on the display than it does, let's say, when you transfer it to your iPhone. So what I mean by this is, for example, if I'm editing a photo in Lightroom, I'm editing it on the Studio Display. Typically, I have the Studio Display set up to max brightness, and I edit the picture as I'm looking at it on the display, obviously. So something that I've found is that when I bring it over to my iPhone to upload to basically Instagram or social media, it is not the same as how it looked on the display. And what I mean by this is that it is slightly dimmer, it's slightly duller, slightly a little bit less saturated on the iPhone screen. Now the iPhone, I don't usually have at max brightness. This could be completely just my workflow. It could be just my settings of my iPhone. I'm not debating that at all, but it's something that I have noticed that you have to kind of calibrate your eyes, and you got to calibrate how you edit or create certain content on your Studio Display, so that when you do bring it over to an iPhone for social media, you can make sure that it's looking good for whatever you're posting it on. The next thing I don't like about the Studio Display is the price. I'm not gonna lie, I do think it is a little bit overpriced. You're definitely paying that Apple tax on it. Here in Canada, the Studio Display runs for $2,000 before tax. Now, for a monitor, it's pretty expensive, I'm not gonna lie. Now, do I think that price is justified? Yes and no. I mean, in my head, I kind of break it down as in like, how much have I paid for it versus how much use have I got for it, and have I made my money back over that? For me, I use it every single day, like I said. So while I'm not justifying the price, I think it is high. If you're like me, over the time that you've used it, the price kind of dissipates, or it gets less, I guess, bad, because you're using it so much and you're creating so much on it. And for me, it's a tool to make money. Like, it's a tool to create things which get me paid. And the next thing that I don't like about the Studio Display is that you can only really use it with Apple products via USB-C. So for example, my workflow, I have a MacBook Pro that's hooked up to the Studio Display like 99% of the time. Perfect for that. One cable setup, don't have no problems, very easy to connect to, love it. But the problem arises is, let's say you want to plug in something like a PS5 that takes HDMI. There's no way for you to connect that to your Studio Display. So now you paid all of this money for a monitor, and if you have a PS5, you can't game on it. Now, this comes with a caveat, because if you're buying a Studio Display, you're probably not buying it to game on it with a PS5. You're probably already very heavily invested into the Apple ecosystem. So you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. For me, like, I don't even play video games really, so I don't connect to PS5. I've never really had an issue with that, but it would be nice to have an option. And I know that a lot of other people would care about something like that, because it really comes down to, like, if you're spending $2+ grand on a monitor and you can't connect like a PS5, I keep using the PS5 for an example, but if you can't connect something like that, like, I mean, it's not the greatest look in the world, you know? But like I mentioned, like, there's not a lot of stuff that I don't like about this monitor. I think it's a great monitor, and those three things are really it in my 2 years of using it every single day. So now let's go over what I do like about it. Let's start off with the design. This is honestly my favorite part of the monitor. I'm big into aesthetics. I'm big into liking the way that my products look. And this is perfect because it looks really, really good. It definitely follows that Apple design language, you know, very boxy, very minimal, very industrial looking. It's all metal. I just really like the design. For $2,000, it better feel that way, and I can confidently say that the design is something that you won't be disappointed in. The next thing is the one cable setup. Now with my MacBook, I literally just have the one USB-C cable that runs from the Studio Display, connects right to the MacBook, charges the MacBook, displays the image, and that's all I need. It's honestly such a minimal and easy way to set it up. And that's kind of like the theme of the Studio Display. If you're in the Apple ecosystem, everything just works. Everything works with one cable. You don't need to do too much. You don't need to have clutter on your desk. It just works. Now, obviously, it's a monitor, so we have to talk about the display, which is another thing that I really do like. Now, it's 5K resolution, and honestly, the display for me has been great. This kind of goes back to my point, like things look better on the display than they do on an iPhone, for example. You have a large canvas to work with. It's bright, it's vibrant. It honestly just looks great. No matter what you're doing on it, whether you're creating content, consuming content, everything looks great on the display. It gets plenty bright, so you don't have to worry about it. I just have the regular glass display. I don't have like the anti-glare coating or anything. I love it. The Studio Display looks great. Go check it out at the Apple Store, but you're not going to be disappointed with the screen. And last but certainly not least, I honestly think that this might be one of my favorite features of the Studio Display is the built-in speakers. Now, it's no secret that Apple does speakers very well. Like the MacBook Pro speakers are amazing, but the Studio Display speakers are like really good. Now, it's not even the fact that the speakers are really good, it's just that it just eliminates like any form of like needing additional speakers on your desk. You're either using headphones or the speakers are good enough to use for themselves. They have bass, they're crisp, they don't distort at high volumes. I sometimes, like if my Bluetooth speaker is dead, I play Spotify songs like in my room right off the Studio Display and it sounds great. And it also saves you from having to spend money on additional speakers for your desk setup and just like cluttering your desk with more things. Like I said, a theme of the Studio Display is like the one product, it just works. One cable, no speakers, like you're good, it's clean, it's effective, it's efficient, and the speakers fall like right into that theme. All right, let me give you the verdict. With this purchase, I have never in my 2 years regretted buying it. In fact, I'm extremely happy that I bought it. So me personally, one of the biggest signs that I have made a good purchase is if during the time that I'm using it, if I'm constantly looking for alternatives or doing research on alternatives. And in my 2 years of owning this, I have not looked or even considered buying another monitor even once, and that's a win. So if you're in a position where you're on the fence or you're even considering this monitor, I can 100% recommend it for you. And if you're asking yourself now, who should buy this monitor? Let me explain. You should buy this monitor if you're in the Apple ecosystem because things just work. Like I said, I've said it multiple times in this video, if you're in the Apple ecosystem and you don't need to plug in a bunch of like other peripherals, things just work, it's gonna be great. This is not like a gaming monitor, but it is for creating. I strongly believe that this Studio Display is for people who want to do creative work, whether you're video editing, photo editing, coding. Basically, if you need a larger canvas to create things, to create visuals, to create products, whatever you do in the creative field, this is a display that's going to work really well in your workflow. And last but certainly not least, if you are somebody who just likes minimal setups, if you like the aesthetics of things, if you want a one cable setup with your speakers included, a webcam included, it'll charge your laptop at the same time. If you just want one product that just works to keep it minimal and that looks good, the Studio Display is for you. So like I said, I've spent every single day with the Studio Display and I'm very familiar with it, and I hope that I could give you some valuable insights on whether you should pick one up in 2024. So basically, yes, I do think it's worth it. I think that if you pick it up now, you're not going to regret it. And if I were in the market, I'd pick it up again. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, comment down below what you think about the Studio Display. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, give it a thumbs up. My name is Aryan. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.